All right, it says we're live. So, as always, guys, thank you very much for joining me. Really appreciate it. You're going to have to let me know if you can see and hear me. It says we're live. Well, I can hear myself. Guys, thank you there we go. Hey guys, I hope everyone is well. Happy Tuesday night. It was fun to watch Big Johnson's video before this. He put out a really cool video about the CZ Shadow 2 and a couple neat triggers with those. And I have to say, I think who was talking about the Shadow 2 here just a moment ago. Dexter, it's totally worth it. In fact, I was at Centerfire Shooting Sports, big surprise a little while ago, picking up something that somebody was sending back to me, and they had a Shadow 2 and Urban Gray, and I had to fight the temptation to get that. They're so great, but one is plenty. One is plenty there. But anyways, yeah, Pete. It's a new room. I did do some painting over the weekend. That was my weekend project. I was tired of the room color in here. You guys, it may not show very well on this, but it was almost like a sky blue. It was a kid's room, I think, before I bought it. And I was too lazy to paint it when I bought the house. So I just kind of dealt with it. And I finally decided, you know what, if we're going to keep doing these live streams after 2 years, it's time to go ahead and freshen the room up a bit. Still a work in progress, still have some things to do, but hopefully it looks okay. I love the color orange, and I like the burnt orange kind of look there. So hopefully you don't mind that too much. Kathleen saying HD, no, I just finally learned how to use my camera. It takes a while for all these sorts of things. So Dexter, you're talking about wanting really wanting to get a 2.0 compact, which is more affordable. Yeah, 2.0 compacts are absolutely fantastic. In fact, I've been looking around at maybe getting a 3.6 inch. Everybody keeps talking about that. I have not tried one, so it might be kind of fun to do that at some point in time. So I don't know. We shall see. But guys, no agenda tonight whatsoever. Bald, I'm just drinking water tonight. Bourbon will come later after the chat. I sort of decided I'm not going to mix the drinking and the chat thing. I actually haven't been doing that for like a year now. I prefer to have the fun after the chat. And just concentrate on this a little bit more and not have it become something other than that. But anyway, again, no agenda for tonight. We're just going to hang out and talk for a while. This is a lot of fun. I missed last week. I was supposed to do one last week, but had some other things come up. So this is kind of a makeup, and we might do next Tuesday as well and get back to an every 2 week sort of thing, which I actually prefer. I think that works out pretty well, and that doesn't make us all too bored with this sort of thing, I hope. But we shall see. And yeah, Bald, I redid the room, something just a little bit different. Got some wall art, wall art back there. It has nothing to do with guns, but I thought that'd be kind of a nice sort of thing. But anyways, I do a roll call, but I appreciate everybody coming in, and I think everybody has really gotten to know each other in here, and I appreciate that quite a bit. Brett and Nine, good to see you, of course. Good to see every single one of you guys. Really appreciate that. Blake Hoover, Blake, I think we're probably going to let you go. Let's see. So see you. Bye. All right. Let's see. Range Randy, what pistol red dot optic would you recommend? That's a great choice. And red dots are becoming more and more prevalent. More guns are having that option, right? It comes down to budget and also use. There are going to be some that are probably going to be a little bit more perhaps durable than others. Something like a Trijicon RMR or Leopold Delta Point Pro. Those are going to be a little bit more, they're going to be more expensive, but they're going to be a little bit more perhaps battle proven. If you go with the RMR, I'd go with the RMR Type 2. I hear great things about that. Less battery problems. But if you're just wanting a red dot, something that you can maybe do for home defense or range use, something like that, maybe even competition or something. Really, the sky is the limit. I'm a big fan of Vortex. I think the Venom is fantastic. Burris makes some good options as well. I mean, there are quite a few different options out there. So if you can kind of scope them out and figure out which one fits your budget and fits your needs, your use. But keep me posted if you get something like that. Kathleen saying we like drunk chat. I don't. I think that looks actually really silly. So I've decided not to do that. Yeah, Big Johnson, I appreciate you helping Blake. Blake can probably just go. We can just let Blake go. So Stephen Worth, Chaos on the Road to the to the Gun Range portrait. If that was the road to the gun range in the middle of Kansas City, that would be pretty cool for sure. But not there, unfortunately. Let's see. Scott is saying, I saw that Grab-A-Gun was selling the MRO RMR. Do you mean for around 350? Probably RMR. That's a pretty good price if it's the Type 2. Type 1 is falling around there now. They reduced that price when the Type 2 came out. But again, there are a lot of great options for red dots for sure. Harvey Weinstein, Weinstein, is that it? Weinstein, Harvey. I no longer appendix carry. I switched to booty stashing. Well, they're not going to look there, so that's actually pretty cool for sure. And Brian Ripple saying it's missing some potholes. I'll tell you what, that is the absolute truth. Kansas City is full of potholes right now, and I'm getting pretty tired of it for sure. It can swallow up a small car. Is it Seiko Looney? I hope, or Psycho Seiko? Psycho, I don't know. Seiko, I hope it's Seiko. What do you think of the SIG X Carry Compact? I'm very interested. In fact, it's on my list for this year. So as soon as I can get one, and they're not out yet, I think they're out in April. I definitely want to try one. I like the 320. I've tested them all so far. However, none of them have stayed in the collection long term, which may tell you something. And I might be stupid for trying the compact, but I really want to see, because apparently, I mean, it's smaller all the way around, including in the grip. So I want to see if that makes a considerable difference. So I'm actually really excited for that. Let's see, Kathleen, what red dot optic has worked the best for me as far as accuracy? You know, I'll be really honest with you. I haven't spent enough time and enough rounds downrange with red dots to be able to answer that question at all. I've put enough downrange to get a feel for them and to figure out what I can and can't do. And I'm not terrifically proficient. I actually prefer iron sights, probably because it's decades of using those. So again, I don't really have too much of an opinion about that. Part of it's going to come down to what MOA you want. The smaller or the lower the MOA, the smaller the dot, which means it's going to be more accurate to long distances. The higher the MOA, it's going to be a bigger dot, and close in, it's probably going to be a little bit faster, but it's not going to be quite as accurate. So, you know, you kind of have to fiddle around with that to figure out which one is best. I actually prefer like a 3.25 MOA. That seems to work pretty well. It's on the smaller side, but that allows me to be able to get out just a little bit further if I want to and kind of play around with that. Oh, let's see. William Keller, do you think 2A is in danger? I think 2A is always in danger. There are always people that that want to bring it down, no matter what. We just, you know, we have to keep fighting the good fight. Frank Newhouse looks very nice. Thank you. I appreciate it. I wish it was new. It's not actually new, just a new room. I was tired of the sky blue. It was quite awful, actually. Let's see. In all seriousness, Rifle Build Parts will be here on Monday. If you guys remember, in all seriousness, won one of the giveaways on the who did that? I can't remember for whatever reason, but shoot, I'm actually embarrassed that I can't remember that right now. But anyway, he won one of the giveaways on there. So there were some parts that were sent to him. Very exciting. Please keep me posted on that. Cal Bizzle, how about the Mossberg MC1 SC? Yes, I'm going to review it. In fact, asked about it again tonight when I was at Centerfire. We're on the lookout for one. I really want to give them the opportunity as far as buying it from them rather than online. I prefer to do that. I like supporting local. So I'm just kind of waiting. There have been enough reviews out there now that at this point, it really doesn't matter. It's not like first to the finish line or anything like that. So I'm excited to try it. I hear great things about it, but I haven't even touched one. I've only seen them on videos. So I don't have a lot of data at this point, unfortunately. But I'm probably getting behind on the comments, so I'll try and catch up here in just a minute. Andrew Shirley, what's your EDC? I have a couple of EDCs. My primary EDC is a Shield 2.0. I've been carrying the Glock 48 and the 43X a little bit as well. I like both of those to carry. And then the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0C periodically, admittedly not as often as I do the smaller firearms. Harvey Weinstein, what did Harvey do? Apparently he did something. Big Johnson's playing police tonight. So I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. Let's see. So I'm going to try and catch up here for just a moment or two, you guys. Let's see. C Kim is saying that a 6 MOA is too big. Well, again, it all depends. Some people really like the 6 or even an 8 MOA. If you're shooting at short distances, that's perfectly fine. But if you're trying to go out to long distances and you have a higher MOA like a 6 or an 8, what have you, you might even run the chance of actually covering your target with that dot. So you just kind of want to think about what that use is going to be for you. Hurt, good to see you. James Young, what do you think of Palmetto State Armory's ARs? Well, I just did a build, and in fact, episode 3 is going to be coming out very soon on it, and I absolutely love it. I don't want to give away anything just yet, but I'll just say so far I've been very impressed. For the money, I think it's a fantastic way to get into ARs, and I think it's something that's going to run and going to last. And you can always tinker with it later on down the road. So to get the, they have a lot of kits that have the upper assembly and the lower parts kit all put into one. $350, $400, $450, anywhere in that range for a variety of different lengths and calibers. I don't think you can beat that. Then you get your lower and some optics, and you're basically ready to go. Get a couple magazines. It's a done deal. So I think they're a great option without question. Excuse me. Shaq, good to see you, Shaq. So I want to buy a trigger for my Glock 43X. I want a lighter trigger pull. What do you guys suggest? Shaq, I will say, and actually I have the 43X. I was playing around with this a little bit earlier and recording a video, believe it or not. And I've got, and you can kind of see it, kind of not, but it's got a tactical pontoon trigger on it. I'll tell you what, thing is fantastic. It's coming in, it's somewhere, I think 4.25, something like that. And it's just awesome. There's a review coming on the tactical pontoon triggers here pretty soon. I'll get more into the weeds on that, but definitely something I would consider. I would recommend that to you. MD Polo, I really appreciate that for the cause. It's much appreciated, man. Very nice of you for sure. Much appreciated. Always good to see you, by the way. Okay, and I've probably missed some questions out there, so bear with me, and be sure to use the call out, the @KS Gun Guy, if you want me to see a question or anything like that. But trying to keep up. You guys are incredible. Your chats are fantastic, but they go really, really fast. Let's see. Pat 8473 just purchased a Glock 19 Gen 5 MOS to go with my Holosun optic. I'm really jealous. I have not been able to find those Holosuns. They seem to be out just about all the time when I'm kind of in the mood and wanting to look for something like that. So keep me posted on that. I'd like to know how that runs. But I'll tell you what, the 19 MOS, I think it's fantastic. The Gen 5, I think they did a great job. Tactical Pontoon, good to see you. David Franklin, when using an RMR, what is the best way to run your irons? What color is best? I'm thinking night sights with a white ring for a front sight. It depends on your eyes and what you prefer. I do love the HD callouts in front. I'm not covering myself with this, although clearly it's unloaded. I just pulled the trigger a couple of times. You can kind of see this against that picture back there. These are actually Ameriglow, and they're the HD sights. It's got the orange callout. I really prefer orange, or even better would be yellow. They're a little bit brighter, and as my eyes get older, I like anything that'll help me pick out the target as best as possible. That front sight acquisition is really important, but if your eyes gravitate towards the larger white dot, I mean, that's perfectly fine as well. So I do recommend those HD sights, though. Brian Ripple, CF has an Apex in stock, or APX in stock. Let's see. Do you think it's still worth a look? Yeah, actually, they've got a couple. They've got the full size and the compact. I don't think they've ever had the Centurion, though. Unfortunately, I'd still like to see that one. But yeah, I think they're great guns. there's nothing wrong with them. I mean, you know, the aesthetics kind of had to grow on me a little bit. It took me a while to get used to them, but I found them to be, first of all, usable, and then the look kind of grew on me a little bit. I like that you can swap the frames, so you can do different colors. I like the FDE frame on that quite a bit. But yeah, I think they're good guns for what their intention is. I think Beretta did a good job with that. So yeah, I think it is definitely worth it. Tell them I said hello. Let's see. Daniel got as my judge. He was talking to Sheck. Rami, not the best. Have one. PO1, best hammer carries CZ. Yeah, you know, there's some real dedicated Rami lovers out there. I really want to try one. The thing is, every time I pick one up, I don't like it as much as I think I'm going to. With that flat magazine, man, there's nothing there. I mean, it's super wide grip and super short. And it just, you know, I would opt for something like a Glock 26 if I'm going to do that. I feel like I get a little bit more of my hand comfortably around that. However, when you put in that extended magazine, the Rami feels fantastic. But again, the Rami's just not for me. I too would opt for a PO1 in that instance. Mike Williams in Wichita. Awesome. That's great. Appreciate that. That's very nice of you to say. I'm glad you're representing Kansas as well. Fu Master Chu 19X, if only one. Listen, that 19X is a great gun. I still have mine. It's on house duty right now, and I love that gun, man. It's that's kind of one of those. I don't think that is ever going to leave the collection. It's just a good, general purpose gun. Joker 3421 is saying sights are subjective. Just find the set you like and run those. I run XS suppressor sights. Big J prefers all black. It's all subjective. A lot of people still like 3 dots. That's absolutely true. I think that's very well said. It is 100% subjective. So find the one that that works best for you, works best for your eyes. A lot of people like the fiber optic. Actually, I do have some fiber optics here. I don't know how well you're going to see this. It is unloaded, by the way. This is the STI Staccato C, and I like the fiber optics. This light doesn't catch it quite as well, but it's super bright. I like those green fiber optics quite a bit. Bald and Curious does not use sights. He just uses the force. Well done, my friend. Well done. That's pretty good. Big Johnson saying Ameriglow makes great sights. I 100% agree. Let's see, Pat 8473 again. KS, I would like to purchase the CZP-10S. My question is, how come it doesn't come with the plate? That's a really good question. They don't have the plates ready right now, from what I understand, to begin with. So I think probably getting the guns out on the market with the cover plate was probably a smart thing, and they kept the cost down by doing that as well. You'll notice that something like a Glock MOS is going to be a little bit more expensive than a standard Glock. A lot of it's because of those plates. There's the extra material and milling and all that sort of thing. So they'll do the plates after the fact. Now, I have no idea how much they're going to be. They might be expensive. They might not be. I just don't know yet. So they just didn't run with the plates. But hopefully they'll have more options than just the Leopold and the Trijicon. I hope they have the Vortex and Burris and all that kind of thing. But we'll see on that. Joker 3421. Rami sucks. Changed my mind. Well, you know, again, it all depends, man. There are some real dedicated Rami lovers out there for sure, and I want to like it as well. Sheck Jesus is saying it was 70 this morning. Now it's frigid. If it makes you feel any better, it's like 24 here, and that's actually pretty warm. It's been colder the past couple of weeks, and we're snowing right now again, so that's a lot of fun. Kevin Roberts, have you ever tried the HK VP9 SK? I like the grip of that better than the 26. Yes, I've done a couple of videos with the SK, and I like it a lot as well. I'm a fan of the VP9. In fact, when the long slide comes out, I really want to try that just to see what it's like. I just want to know. It might look a little bit silly, kind of like a Glock 34 or something like that. But I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of the SK. I think it's a really good gun for sure. Brian Ripple, the STI video, I don't know. I'm still working with it. I've got a few things that are actually in front of it right now. So that's kind of one of those guns again that it's not a hurry up and get done. I just kind of want to enjoy it. I bought it more for me than the channel anyway, admittedly. But as soon as it makes sense to do that, I definitely will. Andrew Shirley, KS Gun Guy, what do you think of the SIG P365? Still bad or all good now? I don't know. I kind of stopped paying attention to that gun, to be honest with you. I had a good experience with mine. I never had issues with it or anything. So from my sample set of one, it was a good gun. It was perfectly fine. But in most of the reports I'm hearing now, they're in pretty good shape. So it's kind of one of those things. If you're into it and you want to give it a try, it might be worth trying at this point in time. Kevcom82, I could bird hunt with my SR 1911. Those are great guns. Bird hunting might be a challenge with it, but good guns just the same. David Franklin, why have we never seen a bull shadow? Boy, I'll tell you what, I'd love to try a bull shadow. Those things are unicorns, man. They are really hard to find, and I imagine pretty expensive. And I'll tell you what, the Shadow 2 kind of scratches that itch for me as well. So, if I happen to run across one and they'll give it to me for free, I would be happy to do. I'm kidding. Yeah, the bull shadow, the likelihood that I'll see one is actually pretty low, even though I'm in the same city as CZ. It just doesn't quite work that way. Let's see. Sheck is saying, any newer guns that you recently horse traded away and immediately regretted letting go? I kind of regret letting every one of them go for one reason or another, with the exception of maybe a couple. But I've sort of gotten used to that as being a reviewer. I mean, that's sort of part of the deal. I mean, I parted ways with one that I kind of thought I would keep pretty long term. It was a great gun, but I just realistically, it had to go, and it didn't fill some niche or some collection niche that I really needed. So I just, it's a sacrifice for the channel. And the fact is, that means it allows me the opportunity to try something different and make videos about it. So I guess it's kind of a trade-off there. And it wasn't a rare gun or anything like that. So I could get one again if I really wanted to, although the likelihood is actually pretty low. Mike K, what do you think of Kahr firearms? Don't think I've seen you review them. I actually did. I did do one. It was the S, whatever the S is. Now I can't remember which one. It was released, I think, last year, 2 years ago, whenever that was. It's been so long now. I used to be kind of into cars back. Cars, it sounds funny to say that. Back when they first came out, when there were fewer options, especially options that were that small. I'll be honest with you now. First, I'm a little bit older. My wrists aren't quite as good as they used to be. My grip technique has changed dramatically. I don't care for them. That is not a gun that mixes very well with me. It's not to say that they're bad guns. I mean, for a lot of people, they run like champs. They like that long, firm double action pull. It's just not for me. It's not a thing. But I'll tell you, if you need just a little pocket gun, something like that, and you don't have a choice for anything else, they do have some pretty good options there. And by and large, I hear pretty good things about their reliability. I never had any issues with mine. But again, it's just not the type of gun that I'm really into. In fact, I'll just kind of sneak peek this a little bit. I do have a little mouse gun here right now. Diamondback sent a couple of guns to me to take a look at. We've been talking about budget guns quite a bit. This will definitely go along with that. But this thing is absolutely tiny. It makes it look like I have Big Johnson hands right now. I mean, this thing is just tiny, and it's a 9mm. So I have no idea what I'm getting into with that. That may be one of those guns that I don't put many rounds down range with. So we shall see. Okay, and I am way behind here, so I'm going to try and catch up for a moment or two. Marcus B through the Beretta APX compact on layaway thoughts. It's a good gun. We were actually talking about that just a moment ago or two. It is a good gun for sure. I think you'll enjoy it. KS, this is from Stephen Worth. My family is from Hays, Kansas. I know Hays very well, and Ellis as well. So I totally know that portrait of the road in the back view doesn't match too many Kansas roads. Yeah, ain't that the truth? Although we do have the foothills, and the foothills are quite pleasant. Hurt One is saying, is the P10S a keeper for you? Maybe. I've got a little bit of testing and some comparison work to do with a gun that I've recently fallen back in favor with, the Glock 26. So I don't know. And I tend to not have more than one or two subcompacts in the collection. Too many more than that, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. But I do like the P10S. It's a good gun. It's bigger though, so I don't know yet. Sheikh Jesus is saying, I was really into the PX4 when I first got it and never thought it would go, but now I'm over it. Now I totally understand. I think it's a good gun too. It's a very pleasant shooter. I was pleasantly surprised with how it worked at the range. It just wasn't long-term. It wasn't something that inspired me to keep it forever. Now 1776 has that FDE one. That might have been one I might have kept. I don't know. That FDE looks pretty cool. Let's see. Jason Hill, try the Kahr MK9 or K9. They are compact, all metal, smooth butter trigger, no recoil at all. And most of all, they are good looking guns. I will say they are good looking. I am familiar with both of those. Again, I actually have never touched one. I've only seen them on videos like the Firearm Guy. There might be a couple, maybe Hickok 45. So they look really cool, and I imagine I would probably like them better because they are steel. There's more weight, absorbs more recoil, a little bit bigger as well. It was probably my biggest problem with the Kahrs. They're just so small. Again, why I'm not really sure what to expect about this DB9. I mean, this thing is tiny. It is tiny. And I have just big enough hands to where that can actually get pretty uncomfortable. So we'll see what happens, but it's a great recommendation. Let's see. John, good to see you. Jonathan T. Pat 8473 KS. I have not heard you talk about Springfield handguns. Any of them? Do you like them? I've actually done reviews on several. I sort of got a little bit of heat for some of the Springfield firearms, so kind of laying off that right now. But they do. I mean, their 1911s I think are fantastic. So it's just kind of whatever you're into there for sure. See, Devin Marks, do you have any interest in the VP9 long slide kit as a home defense or competition option? So are you talking about getting a regular VP9 and then that add-on piece that you get from like hkparts.net, whatever? No, I don't actually. If I did something like that, the VP9 now has the long slide one that came out this year. I'm not sure it's out on the market yet. I would be more inclined to do that personally, but I hear good things about those slide extensions. I know Honest Outlaw did a test with that with the P30. It's kind of the John Wick sort of thing, and he liked it quite a bit. But again, I would prefer to have everything all in one package personally, or I would want it to be some sort of compensator. So just kind of a different approach to it. Tactical Pontoon. Now, if we could only get the Glock 46, man, that is very, very true. TN Star, if the Archon needs a home, call me. I will call you, my friend. But it has a home currently. I love that gun, man. That is not a gun that's going anywhere. Frank Hillman, I would like to see DB9 that works well. Okay, so I have zero experience with Diamondback. They sent this other one along as well. This is the AM2. Now, I was not familiar with this. It's a bigger gun, a little bit closer to something like the Taurus G2C. And I actually like the feel of that gun. But again, no experience with either one of them. So I'm not quite sure what I'm getting into. And so we'll just have to kind of see. But yeah, whatever happens, and I'll report whatever I find with you guys. So it was very nice of them to send those along. It's always appreciated, but we'll just have to kind of see. Pistol Pete, send the DB9 to Honest Outlaw. He'll put 1,000 rounds through it before breakfast. I have no doubt about that. I don't think he'd like it either. His hands are much bigger than mine from what he said. So, this thing is, guys, I'm telling you what, this thing is absolutely tiny. And I will tell you that trigger, that thing is buried all the way in the back of it. So if you have big hands, long fingers, and I have long fingers, again, just a thought there. Keith Gregory, good to see you. Vanessa Kitty. I wish I could call all of you guys out. I really do. Stephen Worth, what's wrong with Springfield Armory? You know, I don't want to necessarily get into the debate. They do have some good guns for sure. Kat Schultz, good to see you, Kat. KS bought my Springfield XDM, but where I thought I'd love that safety, no. Plus holsters customization is such a pain. Yeah, I totally understand, and I'm not a big fan of the grip safety either. That's not a thing for me. High point all the way, Stephen Worth. Haha. Now, you know, admittedly, I've never tried a high point. I've held a couple, but I've never tried one. It would actually be kind of fun to try at some point in time. Texas teacher, good to see you. X5 or XVTAC? Good question. I actually prefer the X5. I like the look of the XVTAC quite a bit. I think they are cool looking guns, and I love those VTAC sights, the combination tritium and fiber optic. Although it takes a while to get used to them, you'll probably shoot a little high or a little bit low for a while until you kind of get used to how to look through them. But I would probably go X5. I think that's a pretty well balanced firearm for a pretty large polymer gun. I think they've weighted it pretty well. In fact, I was at Frontier Justice a couple of weeks ago, and they had the all FDE one. I was really tempted. That was a good looking gun, but I've done the X5. I can't go back and do that again. It doesn't have a role anymore, but it's a great gun nonetheless. Pat 8473, are you thinking about putting a red dot on your 48? No. Again, I'm more a fan of iron sights to begin with, and although I don't have a problem with red dots, I actually prefer the iron sights as is, and that gun's just too small. I don't think it needs a red dot. Too up close and personal, in my opinion. Marcus B, have you ever shot a CZ clone, EAA Tanfolio, witness? If yes, what was the experience like? I have not shot a Tanfolio. I've shot quite a few CZ clones, reviewed quite a few, but never the Tanfolio. So I would like to try one at some point in time. We'll just have to see what can be worked out. But I'll tell you what, any of those CZ75 clones, they're going to be good guns. The CZ75 action is a great action, regardless of which manufacturer is doing it. I mean, some might be a little bit better, a little bit worse, depending on what your flavor is. But by and large, I think they actually they're just a good design. Red and Black Dog, good to see you. It's been a while. Mikey is saying Glock 20 or 1911 and 10 millimeter. So I actually just finished a review. It's not out yet, but Alaskan Ballistics sent me his Glock 40, his Bear sidearm. I'm glad it's back with him now, so the Bears won't get him. But that was a really fun experience. I've not shot a Glock 20. My inclination would be probably a 1911. I like a little bit more weight with the 10 millimeter, even though I was shocked at how pleasant that gun was to shoot. So I'd prefer a 1911, I think, overall. NC Civil War, good to see you. No, Big Johnson, you didn't have the Tanfo with you. I forgot to ask. Dave Gass, good to see you. Colt 1911 Gold Cup Trophy 9mm. Does anyone own one? Thinking about buying one? I've not owned one or shot one, but I did have their competition 9mm. It was the one with the kind of bluish purplish grips. Got that when it first came out, and it was a fantastic gun. Now I had Nolan at Centerfire do a little bit of work on the trigger, kind of soften it up a little bit, make it a little bit lighter. But it was a great gun. I think it's worth your time. I still think Colt makes good guns. I know a lot of people don't, but I do. Mike K is saying for Glock, red dot MOS or have slide milled. It all depends on what you want to do with it. I like MOS because you can change red dots. You can put any of them on there, and you don't have to worry about the milling. With milling, you're stuck with one red dot. However, the advantage of milling, They can be a little bit lower into the slide. So the co-witness is a little bit easier. In some cases, you might not even need to get suppressor height sights. And some people don't like those very much. So, take your pick. I think both would probably work just fine. Andrew Shirley, what got you started into guns and guns on YouTube? It's a good question. So I've been shooting since I was a little kid. First gun anybody put in my hand was an old Winchester bolt action 22 rifle. In fact, I have it now, inherited that from my grandfather. And we used to shoot out in his backyard in a suburb in Kansas City, Missouri. Times have changed. And just absolutely loved it. And so the next gun he put in my hand was a Colt 1911 45, and I was still a pretty little kid, and I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. It almost blew me over, but I absolutely loved it, and I've been hooked ever since. So I've been shooting for a good portion of my life. And then as far as YouTube, my friends got tired of me talking about guns, and they said talk to other people were tired of it, and so I decided to come onto YouTube, and so here I am. Keith Gregory is saying CZ Shadow 2 for me. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I totally agree. 1776, you're missing out, man. CZ Shadow 2. That's it's the cool kids got, man. Everybody's getting a Shadow 2. Everybody's been talking about that lately. Cat Schultz, I'm trying to decide on a Glock pistol as well. I'm wanting double stack mag 9mm, was eyeing a 19. What do you think is the best 9mm wise? Or hell 45? I'm assuming you mean the model 45, or you mean 45 caliber. Whichever one fits your hand the best. Paul Harrell says that very well. I'm a huge fan of the Glock 19. That seems to fit my hand just about right. But it just kind of all depends. I mean, some people are really starting to dig the grip on like the 43X or 48 because it's a little bit bigger than the original 43. I mean, it actually is pretty darn comfortable. I'm liking these guns more and more. But I still gravitate towards the 19. I think they're great do-all guns for the most part. West Coast Chicano, thank you very much. Really appreciate the super chat, brother. It's good to see you. He's got a great channel, by the way, guys. Be sure to check him out. Pop's Quest, if you could own a gun company, which one? Oh, that is a crazy question. And I like that. I like that quite a bit. I'm a little bit of a fanboy, I suppose. I'd probably go CZ. I probably would. I mean, then I'd have access to all the cool CZ guns that I can't afford, and Dan Wesson guns and that sort of thing. That would be pretty cool. C. Kim is saying my first gun I bought was a nylon 66. What's a nylon 66? I'm not familiar with that. Is it a 66 millimeter? That'd be pretty cool. Riley Faust is saying 92 Elite, or is that the Langdon Tactical, I think, or Wilson Combat Centurion Tactical? I have no idea. I don't have enough experience with the 92s, and I've never tried either one of those. I hear good things about both. But I don't know. The Langdon Tactical, maybe I think that would probably be less expensive. But again, I have so little data on that. I just don't know. I still want to try the M9A3 at some point this year. I'm hoping to work that out if at all possible. 1776 is saying read my quote. That's probably not for me. Matt DeLazar is saying Shadow 2 or TSO. It all depends on what you want to do with it. Shadow 2 might be a little bit more multi-purpose, probably home defense, range gun, competition gun, that sort of thing. TSO is really more just competition, range use as well. Both fantastic for sure. You get that double action with the Shadow versus just a single action on the TSO. I love that TSO though. That would almost be a little bit tough, but for the money, because there's certainly a difference in price, probably $400 or $500 depending on where you look. Shadow 2 is kind of tough to beat. It is a really good gun. Excuse me. Ty Bailey, would you buy the TPR 9C or Taurus TH9 for CC? What's the TPR 9C? Is that a Bursa? I'm not familiar with that one. Yeah, I've done the review on the TH9C. There'll be more coming on that here before too long. It's a decent gun. I didn't connect with it as well as I did the G2C, this guy right here. I actually really like that gun quite a bit, but the TH9 is okay. It's really not too bad. It's actually, it's kind of my car gun these days. So it's certainly reliable. I wouldn't throw it in my car if it wasn't, but again, I don't care for the ergonomics quite as much as I thought I would. Josh Benware, good to see you. Thinking about getting a Glock 32. That would be pretty darn cool. Steve B, good to see you. Still have the first Colt 19 M1911 I ever shot at the age 12. That's freaking awesome, man. I don't know. There's something really kind of cool about old Colts. If I could have a collection of old Colt 1911s, I would be all about that. That would be cool. It'd be ridiculously expensive, but very cool nonetheless. Bald and curious. I want to own Atlas. Nice. Pistol Pete, I would own Glock and then close the doors forever. Then you would, if you were going to own it, you'd want to make money, I would think, Pete. You'd have a lot of very disappointed people. Marcus B, I'd own CZ because I already live in Kansas City, Kansas. Yeah, it's nice that they're a stone's throw away for sure. 1776 or Bus saying, what is one gun you haven't shot or owned that you consider the best gun of all time? What is one gun you haven't shot or owned that you consider the best? I had to read that a second time. If I haven't shot it and I haven't owned it, I don't think I could consider it the best gun of all time. I don't think that's, hopefully I'm reading that right. I'm not sure exactly how to answer that. But I've always said I don't think there's a best gun out there. I don't think there's such a thing. I think some guns do some things better than other guns, and some are kind of in the middle. Channel Cat Chaser Remington rifle. I've never shot a Remington rifle. I have a Remington 870 shotgun. Kevin Roberts, my first gun was a Winchester model 190 22 long rifle. I mowed lawns for the entire summer to buy that thing for $86. That's really cool, man. That's very cool. Yeah, mine's a Winchester as well. I don't know what the model is. It's old. I think it was built in 1912, if I'm not mistaken. Old bolt action, single shot bolt action. It would take the shorts or the regular, the 22 long rifle. It's a pretty neat gun. Still shoots, and it's ridiculously accurate because it's like 20 or 22 inches long. I mean, the barrel is just massive on the thing. Marcus B, how's the single action pull on the TH9CZ? Is it crisp or the TH9C CZ? Is it crisp or muddy? It's a little muddy. It is, but it's a more budget friendly option. So it's probably not going to be the most refined trigger. I wouldn't expect that out of the box. I mean, it certainly performs. It does what it needs to do. It's not like Shadow 2 crisp or anything like that. But again, I mean, it works. JK is saying striker fired or hammer. What would you choose if you could only have one? That's really tough. I've spent the majority of my life with striker fireds, with the exception of the 1911s I grew up on. I've only recently really started to get into double action, single action, thanks, of course, to Big Johnson in 1776 and Pop's Quest and some of those guys. They've kind of got me into the double action, single action life, so to speak. But I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it quite a bit. But I'm a little bit finicky, especially with double action. I would want every gun to have a double action like the Shadow 2 or something like that. And most don't. Most are 10 or 11 pounds, 12 pounds, something like that. And, that's fine. It's doable as long as it's smooth. But there's a real advantage to striker fire. It's the same trigger pull every single time. Now, there are junky striker fired guns without question. I was talking with Tactical Pontoon. I'm not sure if he's still out there or not, but he called me a trigger snob. Now, I'm probably kind of becoming one. After a while, you spend enough time with triggers, you start to get a little bit of, you define what you like, and you get a little bit snotty about it as well. At least I think I am. But I would probably opt for striker fired as long as it's a really good, clean striker fired gun. That's a real thing for me. It's got to be clean and crisp. Iceman PX4 saying thinking about getting a SIG P365. Yeah, we were talking about that not too long ago. I think they've made some much needed improvements on that. Hurt One saying, are you able to get to tour the CZ factory working on it? CZ is really kind of hard to crack the shell, so to speak, even being local, what have you, but working on that. Fresh Fowler, good to see you. Duramite 77, favorite striker fired pistol. That's tough, man. That is tough. There are some really good ones out there. Glock 19 certainly comes to mind as one of my higher up ones, just because I've spent so much time with them. Again, it's kind of a dual gun. It's not necessarily special in any one way, but it seems to do everything well enough. P10C is another really good one. I like that quite a bit. Although the Archon B, it's becoming a real favorite of mine. It's a fantastic gun, but it's kind of one of those ones that sort of sits on the fray a little bit. It's not quite as common as an M&P or a Glock or SIG or whatever, but I'm enjoying it quite a bit. But again, it's tough to define my favorite as far as striker fired guns go. And the nice thing is, more and more are coming out, and a lot of them are actually really pretty good. Mule Kicker, good to see you. Are you looking to try the Compact 509? No, not because it's a bad gun, not at all. I've done the 509 and the 509 Tactical. I don't really care to do a third one. It's kind of why I haven't gone after the APX Centurion. Although I'm curious about it, I'd like to handle one. I've never handled one. I've done the other ones in the family, and in that regard, I'm not very interested. Now, I've done all the 320s, so I'm sort of contradicting myself. But the 320s, I keep wanting to actually really like, and I haven't really liked any of them enough to keep them long term. But yeah, the 509 is really not on the radar. Andrew Shirley, Glock 43X or the Glock 43 or the Glock 48. That's a lot of stuff going on there, Andrew. I don't know. I don't care for the Glock 43 quite as much. The 43X and the 48, I have been enjoying quite a bit. I have been carrying the 43. It's unloaded, by the way, a little bit more lately than the 48. But I like them. I like them both. I mean, they're both good guns. Frank Hellman, is the Remington 870 still under your pillow? No, I've been ankle carrying that actually lately. It's pretty comfortable. It gives me a little bit of an interesting walk. No, it is still the secondary arm in the bedroom, so to speak. Big Johnson, see you later, man. I'm probably way behind again. Okay. All right. I'm going to try and catch up, guys. Sorry about this. Keith Gregory, what is your current EDC? Again, I have a couple that I have in rotation. The Taurus G2C, Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0C, 43 and 40, or 43X and 48 a little bit here and there. But the Shield is still the primary. The Shield I go back to pretty much all the times. I put a lot of rounds through that gun. I like it quite a bit. Trenton Stambaugh, I have a Kimber Ultra Carry 2 if you want to test it out, review. Hit me up on Instagram. We can definitely talk about it, or hit me up on Gmail if you like. It's just ksgunguy@gmail.com. I really appreciate that. We can definitely talk further about it. NC Civil War, KS, when did you get the cool 3 photo group on your wall behind you? Just redid the room. Actually, that was the weekend project. And so I decided to go with something completely not gun related and went with that. It was on sale at Bed Bath & Beyond. Dexter, what car stuff were you into before? Car stuff? What do you mean cars? Like vehicles, road type vehicle things? I like a lot of cars, Ferraris, mainly Ferraris. We'll probably never have one, can't afford one, but I grew up on Magnum PI, so I've always wanted the 328. That the 328 GTO, I think it is. That has always been a car that I've had a dream of owning at some point. Those actually aren't quite as expensive as some of the other ones, but still wishful thinking nonetheless. Riley Faust, thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate that. 92 Elite versus Wilson Combat Centurion Tactical, both with action tunes. I think we talked about this just a little while ago, but again, I just don't have enough data on those guns. I've heard some fantastic things about the Langdon Tactical. I saw a video on it not entirely too long ago, and it looked pretty cool. It might have been Jay Helmsing maybe might have put that out. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He's got a pretty good channel out there. But I mean, I'd love to try both of them. I think they both look cool, if nothing else. Feared but good. AREX Delta should be available soon. I hope. I've heard it's not in the country yet. I've heard they've had trouble getting it into the country. That could be, I'm not trying to start a rumor, but that's something I heard. Might have been from somebody else trying to start a rumor, so I don't know. But I hope. I really want to get my hands on that when it comes out. I think they actually look really cool. Christopher Flesner, good to see you. Want to get my hands on the 509 Tactical. It's a good gun, man. It's a good gun. It's got all the bells and whistles. That's probably the coolest thing about it. Kevin Roberts, that's pretty clear. KS, I like striker fired gun, but only if they're exactly like the Shadow 2. Yes, that actually is it. MD Polo, have a good night, man. That is pretty funny. I want a striker fired gun that just has a really good trigger. And there are some out there for sure. Stephen Kathleen Lane, good to see you. Bought 9mm 1911. Recently, your videos helped me decide. Springfield Armory, Range Officer, Target Stainless, 5-pound trigger, and I'm a trigger snob. CZ75 has 3.4. Yeah, I mean, like I say, Springfield Armory, they have some great 1911s. There's no doubt about it. I think they're pretty polished for sure. Congrats on the pickup. Young Guns, good to see you. The SAR 9 was a big positive surprise to me, but it's a keeper. You guys keep talking about the SAR 9. I'm curious about that. If I can find one, I'll try and get one. I know very little about them, but you guys over and over again talk about them. So it's kind of like the PX4 Storm. Apparently, I'm going to need to try one out and kind of play around with it. Pat 8473 KS. I was kind of disappointed that M&P didn't come out with the MOS 2.0 this year. Yeah, I think a lot of people were a little bit bummed about that. I know 1776 was. That might be a mid-year thing for them. I think they're trying to keep up with the times. So I would be surprised if they didn't do some sort of MOS or optics ready version at some point in time. I actually want them to bring back the 9C. I actually really like that gun quite a bit. I think it could use a refresh, a 2.0, if you will. Marcus B, cool to hear you EDC the M2.0 compact. I too have one in my line. Mine's a 4-inch and 40 Smith & Wesson. Nice. Yeah, I've got the 4-inch as well in 9mm. I prefer 9 over 40. It's a little bit less expensive to shoot, but they're great guns, man. That M&P 2.0 compact is just a good gun. Alaskan Ballistics, very good to see you. We were talking about you earlier. Gave you a little shout out there, buddy. Brian Ripple, thanks, man. Thanks for joining. Hurt One, is 40 caliber dead? No, I don't think so. I'm not a fan of it, but I know a lot of people swear by it. A lot of competition shooters shoot with it, so I don't think it's dead. I really don't. Josh Benware saying TN Outdoors 9 is returning to YouTube. That's very cool. It's been a long time. He had a great channel. I enjoyed his stuff. Dan O'Neill's saying ice is coming down in central Missouri. That means it's probably icing here as well. So got that going for us. As we're getting a little bit closer to almost 8 o'clock Central, are there any last minute questions? I've probably missed some, and I apologize if I have. We'll definitely circle around to them next time. But if anybody has any last minute questions, holler them out. And while you're doing that, if you're doing that, and Shaq, I don't think Tactical Pontoon is still here. Hit him up on Instagram. Thank you guys all, of course, for joining me. Really appreciate this. I enjoy these solo chats. They're actually a lot of fun. They're pretty fun. Let's see. Cat Schultz, I'm such a noob in comparison to you guys. Listen, it doesn't matter, man. Just keep working at it. It's one of those things that it's sort of a lifetime activity. You'll continue to grow your skills, and it's just a lot of fun. It's just fun to go shoot. Sometimes I go without the camera or anything, and I just want to shoot just for fun and a little tension release, that sort of thing. And it's nice to do. In fact, I haven't done any video shooting for 3 weeks now. I've been going to the range every week and just been shooting. It's been fun. I've had enough built up in the library to be able to release some things without having to worry about filming every weekend. And that has been delightful. Now I have to get back to it. In fact, I'll be at the range tomorrow doing some videoing. So, but it's still just kind of fun. And it's nice to, take everything else away and just put some rounds down range. Keith Gregory, good to see you, man. See Kim, 50 years, I'm still a noob. Hey, man, we're all noobs. There's always an opportunity to learn. Check Jesus, these live streams are great when 1776 isn't here uglying up the place now. But funny. Stephen Worth, what's your next firearm review? Good question. So I have another If I Could Only Have One coming out this weekend. I have not been doing a good job at producing those. They're a little harder to put together, a little bit more time consuming, but I enjoy them, and I think other people enjoy them as well. So there is one coming out against two really fun guns that I like quite a bit. So that's that. I think the P10F might be the next one to come out. And then the Glock 40 will be coming out as well very soon, courtesy of Alaskan Ballistics. But we'll just kind of see. I kind of like to spread the Glock ones out a little bit. Otherwise, people start saying, oh, that's all you do now is Glocks. People were saying that a little bit about Polymer 80s. So trying to space things out a little bit more. However, I have another Polymer 80 I'm going to do, just so you know. But anyway. Bald and Curious saying still have a Sphinx with my name on it. That's so nice of you. We'll see. We'll see if we can work something out. Bob Eugene, good to see you. I appreciate that, man. That is very, very nice of you. Oh, that's funny. Fresh Fowler, long grip on the P10F. Is it just me? No, and actually I don't have it with me. No, it's massive. It is. It's tremendous. Now it's 19 rounds in the magazine. If that gives you any idea, I mean, it's just a big gun, but it's surprisingly fun to shoot. And I don't gravitate towards the bigger guns like the Glock 17, the M&P 2.0 full size. So I really didn't know if I would like the P10F that much, but it's a highly shootable gun because it feels just like a P10C when it's shooting, just a bigger grip. I mean, that's really pretty much it. Frank Hillman, we all need an unregistered P80. Amen to that, man. Amen to that. Shaq, you are not boring. I've known you long enough now. You are anything but boring. Alaskan Ballistics, it's the people who are jealous of your Glocks that say that. You can never have too many Glocks for sure. Steve B, I'll be down your way in June. I'll bring the P210. Hit me up, brother. We will go shoot. I'll bring the TSO or Shadow or whatever, man. We'll make a day of it. That'd be fun. Peter K, when are you going to talk to Honest Outlaw? Listen, he is awesome. He'll definitely be back on again for sure. We kind of like to space things out, but he is a cool cat for sure. Which gun would Abraham see? You are cool, Shaq. Which gun would Abraham Lincoln prefer, Glock 19 or CZP-10C? I always thought he would prefer a Derringer. Did I say that out loud? I don't know. He kind of strikes me as a Glock kind of guy, sideways, right? Devin Marks, are you going to do a live chat with Yankee Marshall? Who's Yankee Marshall? All right, one last question. Any more? Oh, now the chat now the chat stops. All right, Trenton. One last thing. You should have a meet day in the park, like Ernie Miller Park in Olathe for local subscribers. Well, I'll tell you what. Just come to Centerfire. I'm there all the time. I'm there 2 or 3 times a week. So the chances are pretty likely that you're going to run into me at some point in time. And I always enjoy talking to people and just kind of seeing what everybody else is into, because I learn from you guys a lot more than you could ever learn from me. So just holler, and hopefully I'll see you there. So guys, it is 8 o'clock Central. It's nice to keep these to about an hour so they don't run entirely too long. But once again, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me on a Tuesday. Really appreciate that. We'll be swinging around tomorrow night with the other guys, Big Johnson and 1776. Hope you guys will be able to join us there as well. But again, thank you so much. Stay safe out there, and I will talk to you guys next time.